never mind. Oh,
All right, here we are, man. Brian,
Okay.
welcome, welcome. Brian here is the man, and I'm so excited to have him. I asked him if we could do this little interview, and he was kind enough to say, "Oh, sure, yes." So Brian is one of my students, or was. I don't know if you're still doing.
Yes, I am.
You are, okay. So Brian is one of my students who messaged me. Was that last week or?
I believe so.
I think it was last week, and he was kind enough to message me and to thank me for the course. That he is enjoying the course so much, and he's built a few apps himself, and he's just a rock star, right? So as a teacher, I was so excited. I even told my wife I was just so excited and so humbled by his message. Wow. And so I asked him, I had to ask him, hey, would you mind, if we did a little interview? And he said, oh, sure. So here's Brian, and I'll let Brian tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do right now?
Right now I'm just a college student. I'm going to school for computer science, and background started in programming, freshman class, first college course.
Yes.
Pretty hard. I would have to say hardest one I've taken so far, but it was worth it.
Very nice. So you did right now you did computer science before. Now are you still doing computer science, or are you doing something
Yes,
else?
this is my last year.
Last year. Oh, so are you in Florida somewhere? Where?
Yeah.
Located. Okay, in Florida. Okay, I've been to Florida. Well, a couple years ago now, and I love it. I love the weather, so it's wonderful. That's amazing. That's really cool. So one of the things that I always ask people is, what has learning to program in Java and Android in general, what has that allowed you to do?
Wow, with that, it's completely changed my life. From a professional sense, I've gotten a software development job that I've held in the past, working for a railroad company.
Wow.
Doing software development in Java. So, and then outside of that, the personal aspect is help me stay focused, pay more attention to detail, think about problems and multiple solutions to those problems. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Oh, you did work a railroad company you're talking about. Are you still working for them, or?
Unfortunately got laid off for the restructuring.
Right. Yeah. Wow. So are you also doing some sort of besides, we'll get into this, because I know you told me that you have a few apps of your own. Are you doing freelancing on the side, or?
A bit of that, yes.
Yeah.
I'm actually working on a t-shirt store application now.
Wow. That's so before all of these skills, obviously you knew a little bit of Java before taking the course, right?
Yes,
right.
About a year or so.
About a year or so Java. So the course has allowed you to really hone in your Android skills and be able to build these applications you're talking about, right?
Yes. Especially with your course, because I always wanted to get into Android Studio. For maybe like a year or so before I found your course on Udemy. And then I started watching your videos every day, going through all of the lessons, taking notes, and then trying to build the stuff on my own. And that's how I got to where I am now.
Wow. You see, that's very awesome, because it's one of those things people think of developing or learning how to program like it's a magic thing, right? You just sit down and all of a sudden you understand this. I studied computer science. I mean, it's hard stuff, right? So, but the
really
idea
is.
here, right, like you said, it's important. I like the way you put it. You said, well, you would watch the videos, will take notes, and you will then code yourself, right?
Yeah.
And because that's the only way you're gonna get better. That's the only way you can actually understand. Most people, what they do, they just get a course, buy 10, 15 courses. They don't even watch them. If they watch, they just watch a few and they say, oh, this is too hard, right? Of course it's hard.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So you did that, the course, and I'm assuming that's the Android 21 apps course. Is that the one you're talking about?
That was the one.
That was the one. So how long did it take you for you to start feeling, okay, I can actually build my own app?
Within 3 weeks, and I also put out an app like that same week or so
What?
after doing it.
Wow. So what was that app about? Was it a
That was basically it's a fitness app. It's a fitness timer.
okay?
I don't know if you heard about Tabata,
But
but
yes,
it's
yes.
basically so that's basically what it was. It was real simple. I wanted to say messy at the beginning,
Right.
but it's looks a lot better now.
So you took that app, you started, it was messy, but then you started improving it. Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
You know, that's one things that I always try to. Okay, I'm getting into the teacher mode here. I apologize. Okay.
it's no problem. It's no problem.
Right, because you know all the things that you're saying are things that I try to teach all my students. That and I will try to do a better job at that. You know, that it's all about improving. You know, be it programming, Android development, iOS, whatever you're doing, even your life, like fitness, whatever, you know,
Yeah,
it's improving.
absolutely.
Exactly, and I can tell you probably do a little fitness sometimes there, huh?
Yeah,
Lifting a little
that's
bit
one
of
my
weight.
hobbies.
I can see. Oh, Brian, I know what you're doing. That's great. So
Thank
now,
you.
aside from programming, aside from all the awesomeness of programming, is there anything else that you do as a hobby or?
Sure, yeah, fitness. Huge fitness person in the weightlifting. I'm also into gaming and anime.
What? Gaming and anime, right? Do you
Yeah.
draw or do you like to read animes?
Reading mostly. Not terrible drawer.
Well, but it's one of those things that if you really want to do it, guess what? You can learn, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Wow. So how did you get into anime and fitness?
Just anime, just stuff, watching stuff over the years. Grew up watching Dragon Ball Z, and
Okay.
then branched off into other things and programming. Well, fitness also. Got real big in high school.
That's cool. Okay.
Wanted to get bigger. I was super skinny, and
Right.
the rest is history.
Well, I know how you feel about that because I I was skinny too, and so I'm really
Oh,
huge.
really?
Yeah, I'm really huge in fitness now, like lifting weights in.
I can tell also.
Well, there we go. There we go. But you know, the cool thing about fitness is that it for me at least it helped because you know I'm a programmer. I teach and all those create courses online, and so I sit a lot. I mean, this is my office, right? And the fitness, like going to the gym and actually have my goals. Again, going back to the idea of having goals, it really
Yeah.
helps me. Like by 5 p.m., I know it's time for me to hit the gym for an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours, depending. And I come back
Yeah.
home, I feel refreshed. You know, I feel like okay, this is good. You know, and so
Yeah.
it's not just I look at you know if you want to be a good how can I put it? If you want to be, I would call like a well-rounded person, right? It's not just doing one thing, right? You can be successful at being, you know, at programming, but how about your
Yeah.
health? So those are the things that may seem like,
That's
well,
true.
but it's for later. No, it's not for later. You've got to, you know, that's amazing. That's so. Is there anything else that you like to do aside from programming?
Um, Not too much. I like of course software, anything that's software and technology.
Really?
Fixing computers, things of that nature.
Very. So have you always been like that since?
I was always into gaming, and then I realized if I wanted to create my own games, I had to learn how to program.
Right.
So that's pretty much how that started.
Was it hard for you, like, to learn to program? Like, just you know, go walk me back the first time that you even discovered programming.
Oh wow! I was about 12 years old. My uncle had bought me this big Visual Basic like game programming book.
Okay.
And it just, I was blown away because I didn't know anything. And I tried for years to finally pick up programming, and I didn't get to it until college.
Wow. So, because I took computer science, and for my situation was totally different. Like, I didn't start programming until way late. Even in my computer science class, I was one of the the newer comer, because most of the kids in that class, they were like you, like high school. They started kind of really young, so I had to work a little bit harder. So I know.
Oh man.
So I understand, things you have to do. Like I've always been, in that class especially, I was always the guys like, oh man, I've got to. These kids already know these things. I'm just the only one who doesn't understand this. So I had to work a little bit extra hard. Obviously you weren't in that position because you had already a little bit of programming experience because you started like when you were 12 like you said.
It never worked out.
It didn't work, really?
I never figured it out. That's the college, like the first time I actually like understood what variables, methods, comics, everything was just, I don't know. It was like a different language, literally.
Yeah. But so tell me, one of the things, tell me a little bit then, there's got to be a time or a place where you had that aha, right? Oh, I get it now. When was that? Do you remember that?
I'm just doing it. The first assignment that we had in college, he basically gave us the code, so I just read through it. I also went through the book and tried to do the problems based on his concepts, and then it started to click then.
Oh.
And it's basically how I learned everything else also, just by looking and watching other people do things, and then I try to edit the code, see what each line does.
Yeah.
And then you just figure it out one day.
There we go. You figure out. For me, it was very interesting because even going through, college and everything, it was great. But I didn't really get that aha moment until I decided. I remember this very well. I decided to take one of my. This was after I even graduated, a year or so, and I wanted really to understand Java, right? So what I did, I took one of my school books. I remember I went to a Starbucks. This Starbucks was actually inside of Barnes and Noble, where I live in Spokane, Washington here. And I spent about 3 hours. It was a Saturday. 3 hours. I had my computer. I went through the whole book.
Wow.
Yeah. Probably more than that because they had to kick me out of there. That's when I had, So the reason why we're sharing, I'm asking this question is for whoever is watching or listening to us right now. It's not supposed to be easy. Right? That's not the idea. Like people say, well, but it's too hard. Yes, it is hard. Yeah. It has to be hard. But the good thing is, once you get it, what happens? It's magic because now you can sit down.
It clicks.
It clicks. I mean, you feel so empowered. I mean, think about it, Bryan. Like you can sit down, think of an app. You can go and build it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not small. It's amazing, right? But you had to put the work. Like you really had to say, okay, I want to learn this. I'm gonna go find you. You went and found knowledge. You said, I want to really learn this. I'm gonna go and find this course. You found this course. Thank goodness was mine. Yay! and here we are, right? So that's amazing. So congratulations for that, man. I mean,
thank you.
It's not small. It's not a small feat. I mean, that's amazing. So I'm so impressed.
Because programming and all this, like you said, it's a marathon. You can't learn and do everything in one day. It takes time for you to learn concepts and to build on those concepts and create something ultimately.
So, to build on that, what was one challenge or a few challenges, if you will, that you remember when you were going through the process of learning Android specifically? Like what was one big
the biggest one have to be learning the Android life cycle.
Oh, okay.
So basically what happens if the app stops, what state is in, if it's paused, sometimes destroy doesn't get called, so what do you do then?
Oh, very good.
And then the other one, I know in the recent Android Studio they have it to where you don't have to, when you create like a text view, for example, how you have to concatenate it.
Right.
Just getting that access, making the XML or editing it without changing that, and then getting that huge error trying to figure out what's going on.
What's going on? Right. Wow, interesting. But the one thing I always like to think when it comes to troubleshooting anything, especially developing stuff, is I've had bugs, I've had issues in my code that I literally had to spend 3 days trying to figure out how that works. And it's the worst thing because you just feel,
yeah,
you know what I'm talking about, right? You
exactly.
you go to sleep, you can't really focus, you do whatever you, it's just weighing on you constantly. But the cool thing is, once you figure out how to fix it, you will never forget. You will always know how to fix it. And usually the worst part is that it ends up being sometimes
Something simple.
Right?
Extremely simple. Yeah, you wonder like, why did I spend so many days on
Right.
this? I could have. It's like one simple line usually.
Yeah, it's amazing. But it gets better with time, and but you still, I think you get better at finding those, the errors or the bugs quicker with time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. So walk me through, what's your typical day like for you? Like, you get up in the morning and
Typical day for me. Sometimes I stay up late nights, in college full time and learning this. So usually if I wake up in the morning, I usually start studying. I might go through your courses early in the morning, like 20 to 40 minutes or so, and then move on to studying, Java concepts, the algorithms. I actually picked up your Java 9 master class, so I'm going through that now also.
oh, yeah, wow. Thank you very much. That's wow. Very nice. So it seems to me that you just like to study. Well, you're in school, so obviously you gotta have to do it in the morning. But so okay, in the morning you do that. So what time do you go to class?
Class, if I'm not taking online, it's usually towards the evening time, around 5:30 or so.
Okay. So are you doing an online? Do you actually go to a physical college, or are you doing your online distance?
I'm doing both.
Both. Oh, really?
Online and campus, yes.
Wow. That's okay. So you were pretty busy then.
Yeah.
Wow, that's very nice. So tell me then, so you told me about the apps that you've built, and what are we gonna do actually later? I'll put, because I'm gonna hopefully put this on the YouTube so everybody can watch this. So I will ask, for the links to your apps and all that stuff. But so tell me a little bit more about your apps. How, what are they like? What kind of apps you've built so far?
Okay. The apps that I have published now, the first app was a Tabata timer, which basically it's just simple things, the parameters you activate, like the times that the people do the exercises, the times that you rest, the cool down period.
Right.
And basically you can do that. You have presets in there that I program for people to pick, just in case they don't know, where to start at, and then you just go from there. The second app is also a Tabata timer, but I have it to where you use the Google Voice Assistant.
Oh.
And then you put in you just say the name of the exercises, and then they'll generate. And then there you have more control over the rest periods and the periods that you exercise. And it also has the text to speech, the way it'll pronounce the exercises. You don't even have to look at your phone to do them.
My goodness, there's a lot of technologies there that you kind of have to pull together. Was it, so tell me, so for that app, this one you just talked about, was it hard for you to build it? How long did it take you?
That particular one, it took, I want to say, about a month or so.
Wow, that's not a long time ago. That's amazing. So what was your process? So how did you walk me through, if you will, the process? Like, how did you come up with the idea and the whole process until you finalized the app?
Okay, basically the idea. I just saw a bunch of apps on there. I was using one of these Tabata apps for years on the Play Store, and I just feel, I want to make it better than what it is.
Right.
Because usually I'll forget, because it's just like you just said, work or rest. But I wanted to hear like the exercises, because I typically forget, especially over a long period of time.
Right.
And then I just wrote it down. I have like a notebook that I write all of my app ideas in, and then I just expanded on those, the layouts and things like that. They just came naturally.
Wow. So you are very serious, gentlemen. Like, it's amazing. So you have a notebook where you write all of your app ideas and mock-ups and everything. So what inspired you to start doing that? Like, is it something that you've always done, or when did you start doing that?
Well, after I got into programming, it's just I try to write stuff down and try to understand what's going on. Or even if I'm working in a IDE, you know, I type the code out a lot, type comments showing like what the code does. So I guess it's just a force of habit, really.
Wow. So that's something that helps you learn better and faster, kind of thing. Very interesting. Yeah, you know, one of the things that I also do, I have to have what do they call, in fact, if you're interested, it's called Self Journal. If you type in Google called Self, I don't know if you've heard of them. Self Journal, it's a company, it's amazing. It's one of the things that I recommend. I'm not affiliated to them, you know, with them or anything, but it's just, it has changed the way I work. It's changed, literally, my productivity went up the roof. It's just been amazing. So it's called Self Journal. Yeah. Okay. The cool thing they do is they literally divide the journal for 13 weeks period. Right. Okay. So in the beginning of the journal, literally, what you have to do, this is what very simple, right? But what you have to do is they want you to write down in this 13-week period, what is it that you want to accomplish? So about 3 goals, and then for each goal that you've written down, they ask you to put 3 things you're going to do for each one that will get you closer to finalize those goals, to actually complete those goals, right? And then at the end, they ask you to actually sign and the end date. So that's for accountability, right? So now you're signing, you feel like, oh my goodness, I've got, and so once you've done that, the next pages, every day in the morning, you have to write down why, things you're grateful for and your day. What are you going to be doing that day? At the end of the day, in the evening, once you're done with the day, there's the place where you've got to, they ask you to write 3 things that you've accomplished today, right? Based on the things that you said you wanted to do that day. And then things that you're grateful for. I mean, it's so amazing how it changes your mentality. So I can tell you're a go guy, like you have to have your goals,
yes,
get that Self Journal, and I can, after this, I can send you a link. I'm not affiliated, but I share with anybody who's wants to get stuff done, and because it's amazing, it has changed everything. Wow, so you're very goal oriented. Have you always been like that?
I've always been a slacker. It just so I need stuff like you said, the self journal to keep me going, to keep me accountable, so to speak, for my time. Right.
Well, yeah. If you look for it, I think that you're gonna like it. I think it's $35 or so. I mean, just ask somebody to give you for Christmas. Say all I want is that. Amazing. Yeah, I'm on my second one now, so this is my second one that I'm on, and it has done magic, man. So if you can, in fact, even if you gotta get it, it's so that's really good.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, very nice. So there's so many things I'd like to ask you, because you seem to be very what I would call like a very go-getter, I know you said, well, I used to be a slacker, but I don't believe that, because you're so focused. I mean, look at you, you went to school, you're still going to school, you took the initiative to take the course, and you constantly learning. You want to better yourself, right? So what's your ultimate, in 2-3, what's your ultimate goal in life? Like, I know goals can change, but like, where do you envision yourself in 2, 3, 5 years?
Well, definitely graduated by then. The highest goal. I actually see myself going down 2 different routes if possible. I guess you would say like an alternative plan if the first one doesn't work out. Right. But I'm definitely gonna be an Android developer. Okay. Potentially an iOS developer by then, and I would love to be employed by a Fortune 500 company.
Very nice.
Again, doing that type of work. In the case that doesn't play out, though, I'll definitely be a full-blown freelancer by that point.
Okay. So, have you done any freelancing work as of late or ever?
I'm working on an app right now.
Wow,
It's
you
a
said that, yeah.
t-shirt store. Yes. It's in development. Trying to figure out, last few things that they kind of changed, like what they were marketing. So I have to try to go and edit the
Of
app to
course.
suit that need.
Right, it happens all the time. Okay. So, how did you find the client? I mean, you don't have to give it specific, but did they come to you, look for you to build this app?
Yeah, just someone I know personally that found out that I made apps. It's like, oh, since you can do that, can you do this for me?
Very
Like, yeah,
nice.
sure, I'll try.
Very nice. So, how long have you been working on this app?
About a month or so now.
Is it going
Not
well?
too long. Yes,
Very
very
nice.
well right now. It's almost done. Trying to get the payment system like solidified.
Right. Are you using a third party payment process?
We're nailed it down to using the PayPal API.
Okay. That's not bad. That's not bad.
So hopefully that's the one that they'll stick with for now.
Yeah. Look at you, Ryan, talking about PayPal API. I'm building this app for this people. I'm just, oh man, that's so amazing. I'm beyond, I don't know what to say, because it's just such a cool feeling to see a young man who's just so focused. You know what? I want to better myself. I want to learn this thing. I'm gonna go find this course, and I'm gonna really learn this stuff and go for it and start doing it. That's one of the things I always try to tell all my students. You could buy 25 courses, go to college for the rest of your life. Until you do it, actually start coding and do the stuff, you'll never get better. There's just no way
That's
around
true.
it, right? Because I mean, right? Do you agree with that?
Definitely.
So
You have to do it. Like same thing with fitness. You don't get better unless you start
right,
and you
exactly.
keep going.
Yeah, yeah. So talk about fitness, since we're both in the same level in terms of fitness and all that. Well, you probably better fit than I am. But what I mean is that at least mentally speaking, it's one of those things. The way I think about it is, I kind of talked about it a little bit in the beginning of this call. It's no incident in your life, no parts of your life that make up your life is a single item that it's not connected, right?
That's true.
If you think about it, if you want to be mentally fit, you've got to work a lot of, do a lot of things that will stimulate your mental capacities, right? Learning a new language,
true.
always looking for things to learn, right? Really get into the exact things you're doing, right? But also
Absolutely.
the other connection is your body, right? If you get into fitness, what happens is that your mind also starts clearing up. You start feeling better, not just better physically, but mentally and eventually emotionally. So fitness and programming and being a whole person, I'm trying to get to the point where I have this. I'm trying to get this brand called the well-rounded developer, which essentially is trying to get developers to understand it's not just about sitting and coding, right? There's that you can solve, but it's also about solving problems. It's also about communicating with other people, but it's also about being healthy, right? Maybe go out for a walk, do things that that make you healthy. In so many ways, because it's not just about one thing in life. It's about all these different things that make up.
That's true. Hey, that's amazing. Hey, good luck on that.
Thank you.
Best of luck.
Well, you will hear more about it. Maybe you'll come up. I'll have a podcast. I'll have you back, and we can talk more about stuff. Because this is not it, and I would like to keep. If there's anything you need, you can always let me know. I'll be more than happy.
Thank you.
Absolutely. No, thank you for taking the time to say, hey, you don't understand, man. Like, I was just so excited. It's like, what? Brian, I mean, you were so kind, and I really appreciate that. That's amazing, right? Thank you. So what's your final piece of advice for someone who's taking the course as well, but they're just like, I'm just taking the course, and what's your piece of advice that you will give to someone who is starting Android development? They're not 100% serious about it.
The first thing, for me, the thing that really got me into it was when I first installed Android Studio and then clicked the run button and saw the app pop up in the emulator. Like that was probably the most amazing thing.
Oh, really?
Outside of printing Hello World for the first time as a programmer. So
Right. So,
but definitely, look at the things out there on the Play Store, look at the apps that you use, and just think of ways that you could do that, and your course can definitely get them to that point.
wow. Well, thank you. I didn't. Wow. Well, well, that's pretty. Well, thank you for saying that. Yeah, when it comes to as a teacher, of course, I always go back to that. It's really important to find that thing that motivates you, right? And sometimes, like you said, in your case, what really got you started, it was like, well, you saw Android Studio play, and all of a sudden, boom. Wow. For me, it was very interesting. That was the beginning of Android. So that was in probably 2008, 2007, 2008. And I had the first Droid. I don't know, you're probably too young to remember.
Oh, man.
You remember? Droid.
I remember.
In fact, I think I still have it somewhere. I don't know where it is. Where did I put it? But anyway, yeah, I still have that Droid. And I remember looking at it, and I was just like, this is pretty cool. There's apps. And I went online. There were, at that time, 2007, 2008, that was the beginning of Android, really. So you couldn't just go and find a course or or tutorials or anything. So it literally was like you probably go and find a book. So I bought this book. I forget what it was called, but it was, I forget what it's called, but it was, the Introduction to Android. Right, so I went and bought the book. I literally started studying since then. Like I was just like, I need to figure out how this works because I was in college. I was still in college, right? And so I had some Java experience, of course, and but it was a little bit challenging, right? Because it's like, why isn't this working? But the amazing thing was the first day too, when I connected my phone. And I wrote the first hello world, but I put like the nice button and we click and then something pop up. And I put it on my phone. Just seeing it, I was like, this is it.
Yeah.
This is it. It just gives you that kind of attachment, that emotional, like, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
this is what I did. It's very simple, but I've done this.
It's absolutely.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, is there anything else you would like to imagine if you were talking to about 30,000 people? What would be 30,000 people who are interested in programming? So it goes back to the question just asked earlier. But they're kind of on the fence, right? You're like, well, I hear it's same idea when people talk about mathematics, right? Most people are afraid of mathematics because they've had this bad experience. And I hear a lot of people saying, well, programming is really hard. So I've tried once a little bit. It was just it's zeros and ones and zeros. So what would you tell to those people who are on the fence or they've had a really bad experience with programming, be it in high school or in college, or what would you tell them to encourage them?
I would definitely tell them to try again, because I mentioned earlier, I was like 12 or 13 years old. I didn't get back into programming until I was almost 19. So
wow,
that there, once I got back into it, I saw what I was really missing out on, and it was a truly amazing thing.
Very nice. Very nice.
So for that, definitely that. If they do start, they should be ambitious about it.
Okay.
That's because at the end, that's gonna keep them going.
Right.
Through all of the errors, through all the ups and downs that programming can bring.
Right.
And then the other thing, never be afraid to make mistakes, because I don't think there's never been a programmer that hasn't got stuck in an infinite loop or
right.
missed a semicolon on the line. Those mistakes happen, and you become better after solving them.
Right. Wow. Thank you. That's even for me. I'm just like, yeah. That's a very good advice, because programming is such a it's such a lonely per se kind of pursuit, because most times it's just in your room or somewhere, it's you and the computer, you're trying to solve this problem, and it can be very stressful, and that's probably the reason why you know, I encourage people to take breaks, right? If something's not making sense,
Yeah.
stand up, just go for a walk, or do something totally different than what you're doing right away. That way you kind of clean up the cobwebs in your mind, and hopefully when you get back, you'll have a clear vision of the problem that you're tackling. So very well put.
True.
So is that what you do usually? So when you are encountering like a really big problem that you just can't figure out right now, is that what you do? Do you what
Pretty
do you do?
much. After I take a break, usually I might watch a show, go get something to eat. Usually I might have taken an extended break because it's something how programming is. Because when you get stuck with the error, it kind of stays with you
Right.
until you figure it out. So
Right.
you're constantly thinking about it in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
And then once something clicks, you're like, oh, I got to get back.
Right.
And then you try it. If it works, you know, that's great. If not, you might get up again. I might get up again and go back out.
You go back. Yeah. Yeah, that's very interesting. Now, do you belong to any? Do you go to any meetups, programming meetups, or do you have any online buddies or friends that are also into programming close by that you hang out with?
I have a few programming friends, not very many,
Okay.
and I also have there's a few meetups on LinkedIn
Okay.
that they have. I'm part of a few groups, and they usually have like chats, so they'll have like blog sites that I go and check out and keep up with everyone.
Wow. Very nice.
But that's about it.
Do you find, so as you know, this is I think is going to be very helpful for other students too who are wanting to do what you've accomplished, you know, which is a lot. Do you find, what's your social profile like to because you are an Android developer. I mean, I even saw, I noticed on your LinkedIn you put it, I mean, you have very nice LinkedIn, you're an Android developer, you have your skills, your apps and
Oh,
everything.
thank you.
No, that's really good, and I would like to tell you that's amazing actually. So when did you get that courage to put there Android developer? Because that's one of the things that most of us think, oh, but I'm still
Oh man.
yeah. You see, I strike a nerve, I feel like. Yeah.
Probably right after my second app or so.
Okay.
I found that was, I want to say 6 or 7 months in. So I feel like, you know, I finally got to the point to where maybe I could put that up there now.
Right.
And then I posted my projects, the things that I worked on, and the
Right.
things I'm currently working on.
Right.
And yeah, that's it. You know, just finally, after I built the stuff, just finally got the confidence, like, you know, I might be able to do this now.
Right. But the reason why I ask that is because most of us have that idea. In fact, there's a name for it. They call it the Impostor Syndrome, which is even the highest paid programmer at Google. There are days or weeks where he feels, or they feel like, I don't think I can. No, I'm a fraud. I don't think I can't do this, right? So it's actually, if you Google imposter syndrome, there's such thing, you know. But with that, so the reason why I asked that, because a lot of people, it takes time for you to say, well, I'm an Android developer, or I'm an iOS developer, or I'm a developer, because you feel like, well, I'm still learning. But the good thing about that is that once you put that stamp there, it's kind of like a motivation, because even if you are not really there yet, well, you put there, that means everybody's looking at it. Now you've got to, you know, step up to the plate.
You have to live up to it.
Live up to it, yeah. So you are already there, obviously, but I'm just telling for anybody else there, just put it out there. It's going to be very uncomfortable, and it may feel like you're lying, but as long as, if you don't want to be a liar, guess what? You've got to really work really hard to get there. So would you say the best way to learn Android development would be to just immerse yourself, like just do it? Is that what you would say?
Definitely. You would have to jump right into it. It's going to be overwhelming at first, but once, it's like programming in general, once you get over that learning curve, learning what everything is, you're able to do other stuff and create your own applications with it.
Right.
And that's really the thing I liked about your course, because you walked us through creating certain apps. I remember like you created like a tip calculator, and then you moved on to more advanced stuff. And then after that, I was able to take what I learned from you and able to create my own applications with it.
Wow. Again, gonna make me cry. Well, Bryan, I mean, I'm so proud of you. I mean, I'm so honored that you thought of me and even took my course and even listened to my crazy. Because sometimes I think in that course, I had some weird jokes in between sometimes. I don't remember now. Because in some of my courses, in the middle, I say something, I have my laugh, I have my, whoa, this is so great. So thank you for going through that and smiles like, oh, this crazy guy.
Thank you.
So the last thing, because I want to be respectful of your time. So where can people find you online? Is there a place?
You can find me on my LinkedIn.
Okay.
I'll probably have to give you the link to that.
Right. Yeah. Just give me the link to your apps. You know, after the call.
Okay.
Your apps, your LinkedIn, whatever social you want to, because most people there's an airplane or a helicopter going out. So that people can congratulate you or can just if they want to connect with you professionally, obviously, just to other students, and if you're comfortable with it, of course, right? So
Okay.
yeah, just send me all that information, and then we'll go from there, man.
Okay.
Right, very nice. So thank you so much for taking this call. Well, I like I said, I have no words because I'm sure this is the first time I've ever done this, interviewed a student, and so it may be, if I go back and watch this, I'm gonna probably be like, oh my God, Paulo, what was that, dude? What's going on, right? But I'm truly humbled and so honored that you took the time to say hello and send me that message. I really appreciate it, and I'm very proud of things you are accomplishing, have accomplished, and are going to accomplish, right? Because
thank you.
That's amazing. And you're not a slacker, man. You've never been a slacker. But a slacker would not have built 2 apps and gone, and found the course and really work hard and going to college and really doing all these things.
Nah, thank you. I really appreciate it.
All right, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you. The honor is all mine.